Thank you. Morning, everybody. Welcome to the webinar for our third double match days, which will be over 48 hours over the 18th and 19th of June. So the agenda for today's call, briefly, I'll do an introduction to double match day, how it works. Julian's going to talk about marketing and volunteer support. Misha's going to go through some great methods of using the Good Exchange to maximise your fundraising. Helen's going to talk a bit more technically about donations, fundraising, collections and reporting. Then Marina's going to do a PR piece on promoting Double Match Day online. And then at the end, troubleshooting and how to find support. And then there'll be a question and answer session at the end if anybody's got any further questions. Okay. So next one, thank you. Okay, so double match days, this time it's taking place over 2 days of the weekend, which we hope will give you a great opportunity to maximise those fundraising opportunities, be it whether you want to do it on the Friday or the Saturday. It gives both options available. So we're expecting you to create a fundraising campaign to help drive donations to your project on the Good Exchange. The key message that you need to get across to your donors are that they must make the donations online on the Friday and the Saturday, the 18th and 19th of June, and then they will be trebled. We're calling it double matching because if we match it 1 for 1, that's matching. So matching it £1 for £2 is double matching, but it's also effectively trebling the donation. Please use social media, tagging Greenham Trust and the Good Exchange, and use the hashtag Double Match Day. We're also going to be inviting you for a pre-recorded interview. I think we're going to spread them out amongst different members of the team, but we'll be contacting you to arrange a date to do the interviews, and then these will be played on Kennet Radio on the 18th and 19th of June at various slots throughout the day to help promote your programs. So how will the double matching work? You'll get 2 separate funding offers for your application on the Good Exchange. You'll have Trust Top Up, which will start on the 18th of June. It will be valid for up to 6 months, but obviously we're hoping that you will use the whole entitlement over the 2 days of the 18th and 19th of June. And then you'll get a separate offer for Double Match Day, which will just be valid for the 18th and 19th of June. When you get these offers, please accept them and sign the terms and conditions in the normal way. So, as I've said before, Double Match Day is valid for 48 hours only over the 2 days of the 18th and 19th of June. There is one slight anomaly that the platform's working on. I'm calling it British Summer Time, but Helen will correct me, it's something like International Computer Time. So it will actually start at 1 AM on Friday the 18th of June, but don't worry about it. If people make a donation from midnight or at 5 minutes past midnight on the 18th of June, we will check them out and we will sort that out during the day and make sure that they get matched accordingly. Voluntary donations must be made online via the Good Exchange by credit or debit card, not American Express, please. Unfortunately, we can't accept cheque donations because they take too long to check and process manually to the system. Donations by backs can be accepted, and Helen will tell you a bit more about that later on. And that the donations need to be from individuals or corporates or fundraising collections and activities, but not from other charities. So next slide. So the whole team from Greenham Trust and the Good Exchange are here to support you throughout this journey. And we will have, sorry, I've been put off. And basically I'll talk to you later about the best way to contact us, but we're going to do a centralised contact system, and then we will channel it out to the most appropriate person who'll be able to respond to your request for help or support in a timely manner. Okay, and on to the next one. So following the workshop today, a recording of the workshop and all the slides will be emailed out to you, together with logos for Greenham Trust and the Good Exchange. I've just emailed Hungerford Town Football Club and Berkshire Mencap requesting photos and logos, and then Marina will create a short Double Match Day video which you can all use, and some imagery. Please note the finalist announcement will be made at 9 o'clock on Thursday, so that's tomorrow morning. So then please make all your scheduled posts to go out after that time announcing the good news. Also, if you've opted out of receiving communications when you register for the workshop, we will not be able to send the content to you, and you will not receive any more invitations to workshop, double match day events, community forums, etc. So if you have opted out and you want to receive communications from us, please drop us an email and we can opt you back in. Thank you. I'll now hand you over to Julian.
Good morning, everyone, and congratulations on becoming a finalist for Double Match Day, and I wish you all the very best of luck. I'm going to talk a little bit about our volunteer support for digital marketing to help you with your digital fundraising campaigns for Double Match Day, and also a little bit about storytelling. So, Marina, can you move to the next slide, please? So, I'm sure some or all of you will be aware of the power of storytelling when you're promoting your organizations and part of your fundraising processes. But for Double Match Day, because it's such a focused period of time, it can be really, really effective when you're telling a story about the work that you do and particularly the people that you support. So what I'm going to do is just give you a very, very quick bit of advice about how to communicate your story. And it's most powerful and most effective and has the most impact if you tell it from the beneficiary's perspective. So when you're doing your social media campaigns, be sure to introduce who the beneficiaries are so your prospective donors will care. Make sure you describe the problem that's being faced for your project, what action's being taken to solve it, and what was the result or the difference that it made to the beneficiaries. So if you're doing a core funding application, or you're doing work that's already been done before and you can demonstrate the impact of your organization and the difference it makes, please be sure to tell that story through the mouths of your beneficiaries where possible. If you do have vulnerable clients and it's difficult to identify those beneficiaries, then you can either use first names or anonymize those case studies. But it's really important to have those stories in there if you can. Remember that donors are they want to empathize with you. They want to empathize and support your organization. It's not just a transactional relationship. It's not about the donations. It's about trying to build a relationship with donors. And remember, those donors can become repeat donors, and they can support you. And if they do identify with your beneficiaries, they are likely to give up to twice as much. And there's been loads of research done on this, that if a donor can identify and understand and empathize with the work that you do through your beneficiaries, they're likely to actually donate and then donate more if they do. So it's not a transactional relationship. Can you move to the next slide, please? So we're very lucky that we have been given the support again of Claire Gould, who's got lots of digital marketing experience and graphic design experience. Very happy to help with things like scheduling your social media content if you've not got experience of that, Facebook Live, or helping you create video or image content on social media using tools like Canva, which Marina will talk about later on. But I would urge some caution that she is a volunteer and not an employee. So, we won't be able to do all, 5 of everything because that wouldn't be fair on her. But she's happy to help. We're happy to help. If you do need the help, then please do get in contact in the first instance via me, julian.may@thegoodexchange.com. And I will introduce you to Claire, and she will be able to support you in your digital marketing. And I wish you good luck throughout the campaign.
Okay, so we're just going to talk quickly about some case studies from previous double match days. You may be familiar with some of these. You may have attended one of our webinars where we covered this. So this is the third double match day that we've had. In July and December 2020, we raised over £337,000 was raised over the 2 days. So these were single double match days. We had 20 charities taking part, and there's a quote from West Berkshire MS Therapy Centre there, which was the best work day since lockdown began. And I think we would probably, I think about 18 of the 20 charities raised their full 15,000 during the 24 hours. And obviously that was during lockdown. So, we were extremely pleased with the way that worked. Just a couple of examples here. So one of these was the East Ilsley Playground project, and they wanted to raise money to revamp their playground. And what they did was virtual things like running a half marathon on a treadmill to generate donations. So it was 24.7 kilometers because it was the 24th of July. They did a lot on social media as well. So they did use Claire, the volunteer, to create some videos for them that counted down and had children in the videos talking about the playground. And they raised 15,000, you can see it there, for a new playground during that double match day. So they did, they didn't do anything really difficult or really expensive. They did a lot of social media. I said they had the running, they had the little videos, they had Challenge the Clerk, and they just posted their stuff on YouTube and on Facebook and Instagram, for example, and they engaged with the community. So a few things that they learned. One was it was important to do something on the day, so not just rely on things that you've done before. And we did notice, I think, the couple of charities that didn't make their targets hadn't really got a plan for what they were going to do on the day to take advantage of all that momentum. Having a sort of social media message that was your brand and your idea really worked for them. And they're talking here about the support. And so what the Good Exchange and Greenham Trust will do to support all the double match finalists is a social media campaign, PR. So Jill mentioned, so tomorrow we are expecting, fingers crossed, to have an article in Newbury Weekly News announcing all the finalists. Then we will have another one just before double match day on the Thursday, before double match day starts on the Friday. So use all the tools and resources and run the campaign and find a story. That's what they're saying was their main lesson. So just an example here of the video. I'm not going to play it because it doesn't work very well on Zoom, but you can see the sort of idea that they had, and you can look on their YouTube site. If you look at East Ilsley Parish Council, YouTube site, you can see the videos there. So the other one I wanted to mention was the Watermill Theatre. They obviously had suffered really badly during COVID lockdown, and they were trying to raise money to restart some of their performances outdoors. One of the lessons here that they learned, if you notice this message, that they got a bit excited and they sent an email out to all their subscribers before double match day, and they received over £700 in donations, but it was before double match day, so it wasn't matched. So one thing to be aware of is make sure that if you're sending a link out, maybe send it to your page where the donation button isn't quite live yet, or put a note on. If you're sending people to your website, put a note to say, donate on the 18th and 19th for your money to be matched. They also, again, did a social media countdown. So I think one of the things that the charities found is important is getting your target audience is engaged before the day. So don't just wait till the 18th and suddenly start telling people. Start counting down and raising that excitement and raising awareness and getting people ready with their money to donate. And then afterwards, they did a big thank you on social media. So these are things, again, that you can start getting ready. If you've got your standard imagery and your standard messaging, you can start doing that before the day. So that was just a quick run through a few case studies, and I will talk later, as Jill said, about some of the things that you can do, tools and things that you can use to help you do that. But now I'm going to hand over to Misha, who's talking about how to use the Good Exchange to maximise fundraising on the day.
Hiya, hi everyone. Rena, if you can flip to the next slide, please. So I'm just going to have a chat to you about increasing the appeal of your project page for your donors coming in on Double Match Day and beyond. So as you know, there's an edit public page button on your dashboard next to your project, and that's really, really useful for increasing this appeal in various different ways. So the first of those is images. So very, very important to make sure that your project does have a main image on the page, and that image will also show when someone is searching on the Good Exchange. So you want to draw the eye of people. You want to have a really nice image in there that's going to kind of pull them in to donate. I would avoid adding a logo as your main image. You can add your logo on your organisation page on the Good Exchange, but for your project, add something that is relevant to what your project is doing. A people image can be really, really helpful to attract people in. That may be your beneficiaries, or it may be your team. You can have hands doing something, just something interesting about your project that will draw the eye. You can also add extra images onto your page using the same methods, just to kind of build up that visual appeal and something for people to look at. And you can create free images easily using Canva. We've slightly touched upon that. Marina's going to talk about it a bit more later. But Canva is a free online tool where you can create images and obtain images completely for free. And it's really, really fun to use. So do have a go at that if you can. Videos as well. You can add videos onto your project page, and as we discussed a little bit previously, a case study about one of your beneficiaries, even about your team, anything like that that people can click on, find out a little bit more about what you do, can be really, really interesting for donors. You can even do live videos using Facebook Live or Instagram Live. Again, Marina will touch on that later on in the webinar. And this allows you to bring in personal stories. So it's bringing in that kind of empathy side to the work that you do. So really important to have things like this on your project page. And again, Canva, you can use to create animated videos and all kinds of fabulous things. So definitely a good tool to use. You can add these onto your project page. You can also insert a link to your video. If you've maybe got this stored on YouTube, you might have it on your website. You can add that onto your project page in a couple of different ways. So definitely something to look at. Now on your page as well, you can also add details of a fundraising event that you may be running. Now this might be a raffle, a run like East Ilsley did, a treadmill run, you know, or even Double Match Day itself. So this is a kind of notice board, if you like, on your project page where you can let people know about the event that you're doing, when that is, so that they can support. So it's just a very interesting piece that you can add onto your project page there. But adding Double Match Day is a good way to kind of signal people to what you're going to be doing. So adding that as an event, definitely a useful tool. Next slide, please. Now, it can be good as well to update your supporters throughout the Double Match Days and previous as well. So you can use the project update function on your project page for this. And what that does is it just allows you to type in a little bit of text, a link to a video. You can say, you know, maybe on the first day, it's going so well so far. We've raised this much so far. Thank you so much. You know, it's just a nice little way to add an update on your page there for people. Public fundraisers as well. So the public can support your project as a fundraiser on the Good Exchange. And to do this, they click become a fundraiser on the page. Now, fundraisers are a really good way to maximise your double match funding, because any funds that they raise through their personal profile will come through to your project and be double matched. So the power of that is big. So if you have any supporters that you know of who may wish to become a fundraiser to support your projects on the double match days, or before or after that, then do get them involved. And we have a really nice guide that will guide them how to kind of set up their profile, how to link that to your project, and then start to encourage donations. So that link's available there, and we'll make it available at the end of the slides as well. Next slide, please. Now, before the double match days, we do have a page on the Good Exchange where you can link people to that will list all of you guys, all of the finalists and their projects, and a little bit about what you're fundraising for. Now, that is this link here that we've got, the goodexchange.com/double. If you just have a little look out for an email notification, the website page isn't live just yet, but it will be very soon, and we'll let you know so that you can use the link to share with your supporters in the run up to the days. Next slide, please. Now, a very, very important thing to be doing across the double match days and before is sharing the link to your project page. Now, you're going to want to share the link in all kinds of different places. So there's a couple of ways that you can copy that link to share it out with your supporters. Now, the first way is to copy the link. Just go onto your project page, copy the link at the very, very top and paste it into your social media posts, your emails, website, etc. But the important thing to remember if you use this method is to make sure that you're logged out from your Good Exchange account first. Now, if you copy and paste the link to your page whilst you're logged in, the system gets confused and it tries to kind of share a logged in version of that link. And if anyone clicks onto that, it's not going to work for them. So log out first, find your project, go to the project page and copy the link from there. And to make sure you're logged out, very, very important. Now, you can also share your project page directly onto your organisation's social media channels by going to the project page and clicking on the share button, this blue button that you can see at the bottom there. And this is quite useful. You can use this button to share on multiple channels, including Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whichever ones you've got set up, but also on WhatsApp. And this will allow you to share the link directly to your WhatsApp contacts to encourage them to donate, and to create a post on Facebook, Twitter, etc., again, to encourage people. So it's all about, when you're sharing out on social media or your website, telling people what you want them to do, giving them a call to action, somewhere to click, somewhere to support you, and why they should support you. And very, very important to always let them know wherever you paste your link that on these 2 days their donations will be double matched, and that's a fantastic incentive for donors to support you. Next slide, please. Okay, so I just talked a little bit before about promoting your project on your organisation's website, about sharing the link on your website. Now, in the ways that we talked about, the first way there, copying and pasting the link, you can pinch the link from your project page and paste it into your website to let people know a little bit about Double Match Day as well, and where to click if they want to support you. Now, if the link to your project you feel is a little bit long, you can shorten that link using online tools like Bitly. We'll give you the link to that at the end as well. It just makes it a little bit shorter and easier for people to click on. So that is something you can do. And if you do paste the link in your website, of course, do add a little bit of text, a bit of information about Double Match Day to tell people their donations will essentially be trebled on those days, and what Double Match Day is all about. And as Marina touched on before, it's important to let people know not to donate before the 18th or 19th of June. This happened to the Washermill Theatre for £700, and of course none of that was double matched because it was prior to those days. So do let people know we really are really excited for you to support us, but if you could hold off until these 2 days, that would be great, because your donation will be double matched on those days. Now, another way to share out your link with people is through your emails and newsletters. Again, shortening the link to the project page can be useful for that, particularly if you have a manual newsletter and you need to kind of essentially write out this link, or people need to type it out. But again, it's another useful method of letting people know about the double matching. Now, after the double match days, you might wish to link people to a second project or to your main organisation's page. So on your main organisation page on the Good Exchange, it will always list all the projects you're running at any given time, and the ones that have closed as well. So you can direct people there instead if you prefer, or to a second project if your project on the day becomes fully funded a little bit early, and I'll touch on that a bit later as well. Next slide, please. As I said before, just to reaffirm that at the bottom there, always log out before sharing a link. Very, very important. We have noticed people making that mistake, and it makes it a little bit tricky for donors, so do log out first. Next slide. Okay, so I'm going to pass you over now to Helen, and she's going to talk to you a little bit about donations, adding your fundraising collections on the days, on double match days, and some reporting that's available to you on your dashboard.
Thank you, Misha, and good morning, everybody. Yes, so I'm going to look at a bit more detail about how you can tell from looking at your project on the Good Exchange where you are with your match funding and donations and so on. So the image on the left here is our updated project page, which is quite new functionality that we released in February. And you can see there's the barometer which shows how much you've raised, of what total, out of what total, and the end date of the project. We've also got our match funding symbol, and when that displays, that tells everyone that match funding is available on that project. Now there's a new section entitled Match Funding, which shows your match funding offers. So in this example, this is from one from our last double match day. You can see the two offers that Jill mentioned. So the top offer is the double match day offer, which is offering you £5,000 of double matched funding. And the second offer is your trust top-up offer. And the first offer runs out after 48 hours. The trust top-up offer, if you haven't used it all up in those 48 hours, will last longer. So it shows you the amount offered, and then the next column shows you the amount remaining. Now in that top example, you can see that there was £160 that wasn't used up, and it's been scored through. And if it's scored through, it means that it's run out. And that top one has actually run out because that was a 24-hour period was over. But the second trust top-up offer, you can see that there was still £160 remaining. So it's a good way to look at, if you look at your project page, you can see at a glance, well, how much have I got left from each of those two offers? And underneath that, you can see the totals raised on this project, the total amounts in any grants that you might have, donations, gift aid, and match funding. So you can use this information both to keep yourselves up to date and also to keep your supporters up to date. So you might want to add a comment in and say, great, we've used up £4,000, there's still £1,000 remaining. And for the donors themselves, when they make a donation, they can see on your project page their donation and the match funding applied. So bottom right, we've got a donation of £10, and you can see underneath that it says plus £20 match. So that's the double matching that's been applied to that donation. Next slide, please, Marina. Donations, we would recommend that you use, or your donors use debit and credit cards when making a donation. We don't accept American Express, unfortunately. And if you've already signed up for gift aid on the Good Exchange, then the option will appear to donors to enable them to tick the gift aid box, which adds an extra 25%. So if you do have gift aid, please encourage your donors to tick that box if they're eligible. So the donation process itself, the donor can select how much they want to donate. They can select whether or not they want to make a contribution towards your fees as an applicant. Now, by default, the 5% plus VAT is shown on the donation, and the majority of our donors actually do opt to pay this for you. But they can, if they don't want to pay it, they can either choose not to, or select a different amount, or even pay more if they wish to. So that's part of the donation process. They'll have the opportunity to leave you a message, leave their name, which can be anonymized if they wish. And if you need further information, that we've got a really useful, really helpful guide which talks through making a donation, which is accessible from the link which is on this slide. Now, we can accept fundraising collections, which will be matched against your match funding on the project. But there are a number of things to bear in mind. So you might be doing a fundraising event, you might collect money at the event. The event might be actually in advance of the day, or on the day, or at some point over the weekend. But you need to remember that in order for it to be matched, those funds need to be we need to see receipt of those funds within our bank account. So if you want to pay in a fundraising collection, the advised way of doing that is actually to pay that in using a debit or a credit card. And during the donation process, there's actually an option at the bottom left there. You see under donation details, there is a box that you can select which says this donation is a collection from other donors. So you can tell us that it is a collection, and you can use the box at the top of the page to say how that money was raised, so what it was you did to raise those funds. Now, during the donation process, at all times, there is actually an option for donors to pay their donation by backs rather than card. Now, that can be done, but again, bear in mind that the funds need to be received. So if you are paying by backs during the 48-hour period, please use a faster backs method to make sure we get the money. Or if you've already raised money during that week, you can actually pay it in, make the bank transfer to the Good Exchange in advance, but let us know so that we add it to your project during the 48-hour period to get the matching. And you can let us know by emailing events@greenhamtrust.com. And we're not able to accept any cheque or cash donations for Double Match Day. Another new feature that we have during the donation is the ability for a donor to opt in if they wish to be thanked by you as an organisation. Every donor already gets a thank you email from the Good Exchange on your behalf, but this is an additional function. If they want to find out more about what you're doing, potentially you could develop a relationship with them, but really they've got the option after they make the donation to receive a thank you email from you if they tick the box at the end of the donation process. Also at the end of the process is the ability for them to share their donation on social media. They can share it on Twitter, on Facebook and on LinkedIn. And we would recommend that you let your donors know about this, because this can really help to drive donations if people share their donations on social media. The final thing I want to cover is a report for applicants, which is available to you from your dashboard. So at the bottom of the screen, you can see an image of your dashboard here, and there is a section entitled Reports on the right-hand side. And on this tab, you can create an activity report, which basically just downloads a report with all activity on your project or to you as an applicant. So it will include details of all grants, all donations, all match funding, and gift aid, along with payment information regarding that. So that's very useful both on the day but also subsequently if you want to find out totals raised or what's been paid, what's not been paid, and so on. And I think now I'm going to pass back to Marina.
Thank you, Helen. So I'm just going to take you through an extension really of some of the things that Misha told you about, but more about the tools and the techniques and some of the things that we have available to help you promote your Double Match Day online. The first thing to bear in mind is when you're promoting Double Match Day, please remember to mention both Greenham Trust and the Good Exchange. So we have produced a document that helps charitable organisations using the Good Exchange and Greenham Trust to understand and position the two organisations, because it can be slightly confusing. But the main things to bear in mind is it's Greenham Trust that is the funder providing the money. Greenham Trust provides the money to charitable organisations through its online fundraising and funding platform, which is the Good Exchange. So the Good Exchange doesn't provide the money. So if you're saying thank you to someone for providing the money, always thank Greenham Trust for providing the money, and then you're pointing people to the Good Exchange platform to make their donations. So once you can get your head around that, it's quite a simple way of doing it. So we will also send out these guidelines when we send out the link to the recording of this session and the slides and our logos and everything. So, and the other thing to bear in mind, I don't know if it's not always common knowledge that Greenham Business Park, where Greenham Trust and the Good Exchange are based, is the funding, the model that enables Greenham Trust to provide the charitable grants that it gives in the local area, because a proportion of the profits from the organisations that rent space and buildings on the business park goes towards those charitable organisations. So that's really how you can think about positioning the Good Exchange and Green Trust. There is a link there to the document, but as I said, we will send it out as well. So Jill mentioned some hashtags at the beginning, and we've written them all down here on the slide, so you don't need to worry about them. So we have a double match day hashtag Trust Greenham, and then listed here the Good Exchange and Greenham Trust social media profiles. So I mean, the Good Exchange is quite easy because it's the same for all of them, but do be aware that Greenham Trust has got 3 different ones, so you need to be careful when you're tagging Greenham Trust in to make sure you've got the right one. But it should change colour when you're tagging, so you should know that you've picked the right one. But sometimes if you're using a tool like Hootsuite, it doesn't always show the tagging, so just be aware of that. Now, several people have mentioned Canva. I'm not going to go into a demonstration today of how to use it. We have got several recorded videos, webinars, training sessions on both YouTube and the Good Exchange website that take you through step by step how to use Canva. All I want to say today really is Canva Professional is usually a paid for subscription, but if you are a non-profit organisation, you can get Canva Pro free. So I would strongly recommend that if you don't have it, you sign up for it now. Don't wait until double match day and then sign up, because sometimes it can take a day or two for them to get your approval through. But if you get the free pro version, you get thousands of pre-designed templates. You get over 75 million royalty-free images. And I know from the work that I do with charities that finding high quality imagery is a real challenge that you don't have to pay for. So if you can access this library of free images, then it's definitely worth having. You can also set up a brand kit for your organization. So if you've got colors, fonts, designs that you use, you can set that up automatically in Canva so that every time you create an image, it automatically gives you the option to use your colors. So you can see that a lot of the stuff that we use for Greenham Trust and the Good Exchange is delivered in Canva, and you can see that it all follows our brand template. You can also, one of the things I find really painful, or did before Canva, was resizing things for Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, where they all have different sizes requirements for their images. But with Canva Pro, it's got this thing called Magic Resize, and you can just resize it, and then it'll give you a list. And you just choose, I want a Twitter post, I want an Instagram post, and I want a YouTube thumbnail, and it automatically resizes it for you. You can also, if you don't have a tool like Hootsuite, schedule posts directly to social media from Canva. So that's quite a useful tool to have. You can save designs for team use, and you get a lot of free storage. So at any non-profit organisation, it's worth having. So Canva Pro is free of charge to any registered non-profit, these are American terms, so charitable organisation, or what they call a social impact organisation. So that would probably be a community sports club, community group, or public health organisation. So you have to provide your charity registration number or one of the other things. So if you're a sports club, for example, you could provide them your articles or your memorandum of association just to prove you're a not-for-profit. And I've put the link there. And if you haven't got any of those things, you can sign up for a free 30-day trial anyway, which would take you from today to past double match day. So even if you don't want to sign up for Canva Pro free, why not sign up for a free trial? Now, I mentioned imagery. So as well as getting the images free on Canva, you can get images from these sources here. So Unsplash and Pixabay, they have free ones, or deposit photos. So we use deposit photos because sometimes we want special images for particular types of charities, but you can buy 100 photos for something like $69. So it's less than 6p a photo. So for a very low budget, you can buy photos. You can also get cartoons and GIFs from things like this. And don't forget, things like Twitter have GIFs and moving images built in, so you can use those. Now, I wanted to talk about social media. We've mentioned that briefly in Misha's presentation, one of the things that we've seen in the past is make sure that anyone who's going to be out and about posting on your behalf has access to your organisation's social media platform. So that's another thing it's worth you setting up in advance. So make sure that you've got a variety of people who've got the ability to be able to post on your organisation's behalf. And also you can schedule posts in advance. As I said, you can schedule them with Canva or a tool like Hootsuite. So you don't have to be rushing around like mad things on the 18th and 19th. Take the next couple of weeks and get some of your posts scheduled in advance. You can even schedule them or draft them and put your live photos or photos from your events and things in at nearer the time. Also, don't forget to use WhatsApp. I think one of the things that people forget is there is an integration between the Good Exchange and WhatsApp. So you can post directly from your phone a link to your fundraising project to any of the contacts you select on your WhatsApp group. And we've got a little video and a document that shows you. So I put some of the links here and Jill will go through some of those at the end anyway. So we've got online training for all the things I've talked about. Now, the other two things that have been mentioned are live recordings. And if you haven't done them before, it can be a bit, you don't know how to do it, but Facebook Live and Instagram Live are two of the most popular ways of recording things that are happening live on the day. And as we move out of lockdown and we're having live events, these are two really good tools to use to promote what's going on with your organisation during Double Match Day. So in case you're not aware, Facebook Live broadcasts videos live from your organisation's page or your group or your Facebook event. So it depends what you've set up. You can broadcast live from any of those. It's the most useful to use if you've got a fundraising activity going on and you want to engage your audience who are at the activity or are watching the activity. So I'm not going to show you how to do it. Again, we've got videos on that, but some tips for using Facebook Live. Make sure wherever you're doing it from either has a good Wi-Fi or you've got a good mobile phone signal. Otherwise, you won't be able to broadcast live. So you can prepare these things in advance. So prepare a description that describes what you're broadcasting about and make sure you tell the followers you think will be interested, for example, through social media or email or posters, that you're going to be broadcasting on that date and time. And ask your viewers to follow you. If they follow you, they will then receive notifications that you're about to broadcast, and there is a follow button. Also mention people, because if you start to engage people, people will start to comment on your live stream. So make sure you've got someone there who can answer those comments and respond. And Berkshire Maestros were a great example at last Double Match Day when they were broadcasting live through YouTube, and they had people making sure someone was tracking all the comments all day while that was going on. And you must broadcast for 4 seconds, but you can broadcast for 8 hours. So if you're any sort of event that you're planning over Double Match Day, you can probably broadcast. So the second one I want to mention is Instagram Live. Very similar to Facebook Live, but what I find is more young people use Instagram than Facebook. And I'm not going to talk about TikTok because we don't use it. And I'm not sure that if you haven't got a TikTok following now, there's probably not enough time to set one up and make it worthwhile having TikTok and get your enough followers. But a lot of young people, including my kids, they only broadcast now on Instagram. So Instagram Live is a feature of Instagram Stories. Now, if you're not familiar with Instagram Stories, I'm going to cover that in a minute. But it allows users to stream live video and engage with your followers in real time. So when you broadcast live video streams, on Instagram, you've got a profile picture at the top left. You'll get a coloured ring around your profile, which shows that you're broadcasting. So when you start broadcasting Instagram Live, again, your followers will be notified. So they'll start watching you. So again, it's a good idea to make a story up in advance and even maybe type the text somewhere on your phone, like on your notepad on something, so you can just copy and paste it into your Instagram story. And then you can drive interaction with your followers. So Instagram Live's really great if you're announcing something. So it's a good way to announce, we've raised £5,000, we've still got £5,000 to go. Or if you're doing question and answers, if you've got events, or if you've got maybe guest speakers on the day or something happen. But again, make sure that you promote your Instagram live session in advance to your followers so they're expecting it and they're ready to join in. Now, Instagram Live, as I said, is part of Instagram Stories. If you use Instagram, you'll be familiar with this page, and everybody's got their logo or their picture in the circle on the left. If you want to broadcast Instagram Live, you just click on the plus. And again, we've got several training sessions that show you how to use Instagram Live. The thing to be aware with Instagram Live is that whatever you post up there is live for 24 hours. So Instagram Live is a great tool for Double Match Day, because you could just post a couple of those and then they go on for 24 hours. The other thing that you can do with it is once you start an Instagram Live is add more content to it throughout the 24 hours. So again, we've got a training video that shows you how to do that. So that's really great for Double Match Day. You could start off with a short Instagram story on Instagram Live, and then throughout the 24 hours, you could add things to it and then start another one for the second 24 hours. So as I said, there are step-by-step instructions on how to use Canva, Facebook Live, Instagram, on the Good Exchange's YouTube channel. I've put a link there, and I've linked to some of the top ones there that you can see and link to. And you'll get all these slides and this recording and the resources page later. But now I'm going to hand back to Misha and Jill, who are going to talk about troubleshooting and support.
Okay, so I wanted to go through with you first some troubleshooting that you can do on the day in relation to your donors. So if you can help your donors directly, a lot of them may come to you first if something's not quite working or they're a bit unsure. So I want you to go through the most kind of common queries that we get from donors to allow you to help them on the double match days if you can. Now, the first most common query that we get is, you may have had people asking you this already. I've gotten to the end of the donation process and there's a little spinning wheel in the middle of the screen and it's never completing. Has my donation gone through? What do I do? Now, if this happens, the donation hasn't completed, so their funds haven't come through to the Good Exchange. So that, first of all, you can make them feel a bit confident about that. Their funds have not been taken if that screen is spinning. Now, this can happen to one of three reasons. If they are using an American Express card, our system doesn't accept this particular card as a payment method, but if they try another card, the donation will go through if they start the process again. They may have a security software on their computer called Kaspersky, and this particular software in the settings has a little box that says Safe Pay, and they have to uncheck that Safe Pay box in order for the donation to go through. So their security software is being a little bit careful. If it doesn't know the site, if they uncheck that box, the donation will proceed. And the third one is that we have had happen a few different times. If the donor receives a link that says HTTP instead of HTTPS at the beginning of the link, it won't work and it will spin the donation at the end because the S reflects a secure version of the web page. So it needs that there for the donation to go through. So if you were, for example, to manually type out your link to someone and miss out that S by accident and pass it to the donor, it won't work for them in the process. So do make sure when you're copying the links, you do directly copy and paste or use the share function, as I talked about before, to prevent this from happening. But those are the three most common things that cause that spinning issue. Now, the second issue we sometimes have is if a donor decides, want to donate to this fabulous project, but the system, while I'm making the donation, is asking me for my password. I don't know what my password is. I don't remember using the Good Exchange before and setting up a password. Not to worry, because right within the process, exactly where they are, there is a link for the forgotten password reset that they can click on to reset their password and continue with the process. If they prefer, they can navigate away and go to the login page to reset their password, but they can do it within the donation process. Now, if it's asking for a password, they have set one up before. It could have been years and years ago and they've completely forgotten, which is understandable, or they just don't remember what the password is and they're missing a digit. Just ask them to reset the password using this forgotten password link, and that's usually what's happening in that instance. Now, the third one, donor is saying to you, okay, I'm trying to find your project, don't have a link, but I'm interested in what you just told me about on the phone. I'm using the search function on the Good Exchange and I cannot find it. So if they're using the search, make sure you can see at the bottom there on the screenshot that I've added, they've searched for, we've given the example of one of you here with us today, West Berkshire Therapy Centre. Do make sure that they sort their search by relevance. Now, the default for this search is the most recent donation, but they must search by relevance so that the system knows I'm looking for something relevant to these words, West Berkshire Therapy Centre, and it will then present them with the most relevant results. So if they can't find the project, that is usually what's happening in that instance. Otherwise, do again provide them with the URL directly to your project page whilst you're logged out, and they can straight away click donate now to support you. Next slide, please. Now that was donors, for you to be able to help the donors, but just a very quick tip for you as the applicant. I touched on this before. Now, you may find if you're super successful over the double match days, which is what we really want to be happening, that your project may become fully funded before all your supporters have had a chance to come in and donate. Now, if this happens, what we would do is encourage you to have a second project in place on the Good Exchange, so that if the double match day one becomes fully funded, you can then direct people to this second project. Now, if you do wish to set up a second project, do get in touch with us well in advance of the 18th of June to help you to set that up and give a bit more info on how to do that. Another option is you may be able to increase the amount sought on your original project, which again would help more donations to come in. But if you have concerns about that and you would like to do one of these two things, please get in touch with me as normal on support@thegoodexchange.com as soon as you possibly can, and I will help you with what the best option is for your project. On the day itself, on double match day, either of the 2 days, we won't be able to extend the target on your project, or setting up a second project may take a bit of time. So definitely best to do this in advance. So do just give me an email and I'll help you out with that. It's not a problem. Okay, so I'm just going to pass over to Jill now, and she's going to help you with how to get in touch with us on the double match days. Should none of these troubleshooting bits help you, your donor's got a different query, how to get in touch with us.
Right, yes, so event support, as I mentioned, we've got a team of people already willing and able to help you with any queries you have throughout the event and in advance of the event. So the general query line is events@greenhamtrust.com, and if you channel all your inquiries through to there, we will then channel them out within the team to the most appropriate person to respond to you. If you know it's a technical question, like you want to change your project, you want to edit your project on the Good Exchange, then please, and this is in the run-up to the event, please contact support@thegoodexchange.com as normal. And as Julian said, if you want some digital marketing support, you can contact Julian directly via julian.may@thegoodexchange.com. But if in doubt, email events@greenhamtrust.com and we will make sure that your email is passed to the relevant person to reply. Now, on the double match days themselves, the 18th and 19th of June, we're asking that all requests for support please go to events@greenhamtrust.com. We're going to have a little rota of people to respond to your requests for help, and there again, they will be channeled out and we will get back to you as soon as possible. I'd like to say that we'll man this line for 48 hours, but I do think that we do need some downtime for some sleep. So probably, you know, it might go a bit quiet sort of after midnight on the Friday night until we wake up Saturday morning. But we've still got time on the Saturday if there are any issues to resolve them for you. We will also have a dedicated telephone number, which we'll give you nearer the time. As I say, we're asking for people, if possible, to email us, but we understand that you might be out and about, or emails might go down, worst case scenario. In that case, please ring the number which we will advise you of nearer the time. So resources, here are links to a number of the resources which we've told you about today on the call. Some are links to YouTube, some are links to FAQs and which are held on the Good Exchange page. So if you want advice, this is a good first point of call to help you through that. But as I say, otherwise you can come to us at the support desk. Then finally, I think it might be a good idea just to let you know who the successful applicants are. So we've got Hungerford Town Football Club, Parenting Special Children, the Trust for Sustainable Living, West Berkshire MenCap, and West Berkshire Therapy Centre. So I hope that you'll all agree that we've got a broad spectrum of charitable purpose here and geographic location. So we hope that will help you all to make your fundraising campaigns a success. We hope, resources permitting, that we'll be able to come and visit some of you if you're doing your fundraising activities on the 18th and 19th of June. So when they're confirmed and you've got timings, do please drop us an email and let us know. And if we can, we'd love to come and visit you to cheer you on your way. Thank you.
Thank you, Jill. We have had a few questions. I know some of them have been answered, but I think it might be worth, for the benefit of the rest of the... Sorry, excuse me.
Yeah, so there was one question from Tess at Parenting Special Children asking about whether we match or double match charitable trust funds that donate to the campaign. Actually, we don't match or double match trust funding. This is because Trust Top Up, the broader match giving that we do, is really about trying to encourage public support to your work and raising awareness in the public. So that's the offer is specifically for public and corporate donations. There are a couple of exceptions. So parish council support, for example, we would view as voluntary donations. And then, as mentioned before, if a school or a body is doing fundraising for you, they can either transfer funds directly to your project page on the 2 days, or pass it to you and then you pass it on to us in advance, and we'll make sure that it's double matched. Hope that answers your question, Tess.
So there's another question here that was answered. If someone becomes a fundraiser and people donate before the 18th, will it be double matched?
Okay, so no, the double matching applies on the 18th and the 19th. So the donations have to be paid in on the 18th and 19th of June.
And if a donor donates directly to us as a charity before double match day, for example, a local school that is fundraising for us, can we as a charity then transfer the money via BACS to the double match campaign? So
yes, that you can transfer the money as a third-party donation. I would stress that this campaign, as long as it's like new funds that have been raised as part of this campaign, it's important, and that you would put that, it was a fundraising event held for this campaign. But then, yes, you can pay it in as a third-party donation, or you can suggest to the school to pay it in directly.
I think as well, a thing to remember on BACS is you guys will be used to the manual donation forms that we used to have. We still have those for cheques, but they're now called cheque donation forms, but obviously irrelevant for double match day. But in terms of BACS, that's all online now via the project page in the same way as credit or debit card donations, as Helen was showing you. So just something to remember for double match days, but also for going forward too.
So there's a question, can we confirm exactly when double match day finishes on the 19th, the exact time?
I've said midnight on the 19th of June, on the Saturday night at midnight.
Okay, and will there be a link directly to the Donate facility on the Good Exchange for us to share?
Well, yes, so what you want to be doing is sharing your project page link logged out, as I was saying just earlier on. What you can also do if you want to get people there just a little step quicker is to click on Donate Now on your project page, and then share the link from there, and it takes them straight into the donation process. But it can be better to take them to the project page itself, because then they can read a bit more about what you're doing, your fundraising activities and all of that, and all your videos and things that you may have on there. But do share the link to your project page. And also, as we were saying earlier, we will actually have a page on the Good Exchange available very soon that lists all of your projects, and a link straight through to those projects too. So if you prefer to share that, you can do, and we'll send you out. Well, the link is available. It's thegoodexchange.com/double, but it will be live a little bit later. So we'll let you know when that is live.
We'll also have a page, greenhamtrust.com/double, which will be live from tomorrow morning, which lists the applicants and their projects, and that will have links as well to the donation, well, to the project page on the Good Exchange for people to donate.
Question here. We are hoping to run a raffle on the 18th, 19th of June, every £5 for one ticket. Is this okay? Will we need additional licenses?
So over 2 days, you may well need a public lottery license. You can run without a license an on-the-day event at an event, an on-the-day raffle, without any need for an additional license. You may already have a license for small lotteries covering you, so I would suggest speaking to your local, either looking at the Gaming Board and Gambling Commission for additional guidance, but we would ask you to look at that yourselves as an organisation.
And last question, what if a corporate only donates through their company foundation? Does that count as a corporate donation or a charitable donation?
Yeah, so sort of technically it does then become a charitable trust or foundation. There are companies obviously who only give that way. So if there's something you want to check with us, we can look at that on a case-by-case basis. But on the whole, they fit into a trust and foundation category, which becomes ineligible. Doesn't mean they can't donate. It would be amazing if they donated, but it may not be matched or double matched.
But company donations will be matched, won't they, Louis?
Yeah, but there is but our guidance is to preclude charitable trusts and foundations from matching. So yeah, where the company has set up a foundation, that does then fall into a different category.
Okay, so I can't see any more questions coming in, but you do have, as we showed you, the events at greenhamtrust.com email. So if you've got any more questions that come up, do not hesitate to contact us. And I think, as everyone mentioned, we'll be sending out the slides and the recording, plus the logos and the guidelines and everything. So, I think on behalf of Greenham Trust and the Good Exchange, we'd like to wish you lots of luck. We'll all be here to work with you until up to the end of the 19th to help you make the most of the opportunity to raise £15,000. So we're all rooting for you. So thanks very much, everyone. Thank you to all the panelists and all the participants. And we look forward to working with you.
Good luck, everybody.
Good luck, everyone.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you.